anywhere in your body where there is an old injury or a new injury or a stagnation, that is going to throw off the way that you rid your body of toxins. That is going to create a blood flow issue, a lymphatic issue. Whenever you get stagnation, that's where you can start to get unease. Think about like a river. We're out in the movement lab, aka the garage, getting some morning sun, getting warmed up to move a little bit. And I want to talk to you guys about a very overlooked game-changing factor in recovery and strengthening and just honestly, I think overall health. And you may have guessed it, it's your feet. There's actually been a lot of content coming out in the past few years about the importance of foot health, ankle health, really integrating the lower leg, the foot, all the way into the toes, especially the big toe, into training, because that's where we make contact with the ground, and the ground is the thing that we are pushing ourselves into and out of. The reason that it's so relevant to me is I've had foot issues since I was like probably 10 or 11 years old. I played hockey growing up, as you guys know, and I developed a big bunion on this foot, my left foot. And over the years, it really started to change. It really hurt to put weight through the ball of my foot on that side. So it started to change where I would put my weight as I walked. And I didn't realize it at the time, but what was slowly happening is that it was actually pulling the rest of my body out of alignment. So it first went up to my knee would be a little bit misaligned. I really started to feel it in my hips and then my lower back, even all the way up to my shoulder and my neck. See, the fascia connects our whole body, and when one thing gets out of whack, the body is always going to want to try to maintain that center line. So a thing gets out of whack, and then something on the other side starts pulling. So it can really start to feel like this tug of war. And as I've been working through my mold healing and healing old trauma and all this stuff, I've really put a lot more emphasis on my feet. And I'm noticing more and more like how foundational that is. At the risk of diving in too deep right away with all these connections, one of the things I was struggling with for the longest time was constipation. Like my digestive system was just like backed up, and it always felt like I was carrying a brick on my left side. And that's the same side that I had a lot of ankle and foot injuries, and I have that bunion on. And what as I've started to strengthen that foot, what it's shown me is that it's because there's a lack of flow on that side. Like there was some areas of my foot that was afraid to put weight into the ground, and that lack of ease translated all the way up to the chain, where even my psoas and my iliopsoas and a lot of the muscles on that left side that are responsible for holding my spine up, they just weren't working properly, or they were so tight that I wasn't able to actually soften into my stride and push off my big toe. So you'd be so surprised how an issue with your foot or your ankle can lead to so many other things. And as you resolve it, how many other things get better. That's actually what I want to show you guys. So I go see a fascial massage therapist once per month, sometimes twice a month, but yeah, it's normally once a month. And she's been helping me unwind all these old injury patterns in my body. What she does is very similar to Rolfing. So if you don't know what Rolfing is, you might want to Google ROLF, Rolfing. But it's not exactly the same thing. But I even went through a whole 10 series with her, which is sort of the signature experience of Rolfing, which goes through your whole body and reorganizes the fascia. And I went recently, her name is Sasha. I went to see her and her son just the other day, and I brought my camera with me to show you guys some of the work that I've been doing on my feet. And she's helped me so much to reopen my feet and my ankles. And It's crazy. She didn't even touch my upper body the other day, and I left. My neck felt more at ease and looser. My abdomen felt completely free. My hips and my legs were more free, so all from working on the feet.
Your bunion, it's pulling all these tarsals over. So even if I was to focus just on this, it's not going to help it free it, because I got to free all of them.
Yeah. That's what it feels like.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these over there feel attached to that ankle injury. Like it feels like it all happened at the same time almost. Like when the twist happened, it even got all the way up here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. It's all connected. I can feel it too. It's like I got to open up your distal phalanges first in order to even think about releasing the rest of the foot. Right there.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. And then point towards me a little. Yeah. Okay. So you're going to lift and then slowly set down and spread those tarsals. Let's open up those tendons right there. That's going to be a big one. Sorry.
Oh, there it goes.
Ooh.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lift. Oh, more cracking. More adjustments.
So what happened is I really injured this ankle. I never did anything about it for years. And my body just created protection around it. And even a touch would have been so tender. And now to be at this point where Sasha's digging in there as far as she is, it's taken me 5 years for my body to allow this level of healing to occur. So if you do have these injuries, address them sooner rather than later, and then you don't have to do as much work.
And then we're going to rock it. And I'm going to get in there.
This way?
Yeah, let me just switch my legs here.
More like the rotation rock, or so that's good?
Yes. Because I'm trying to get it to rotate.
Oh gosh, yep, I see what we're doing. So I have all these old ankle injuries that weren't just sprains, but there was also a shitload of twisting and torsion. And what happened is twisted further than it should have. And now my body and my fascia is afraid to actually twist and create the arch the way it needs to. So Sasha's going in there and reintroducing what the actual twisting pattern should be. And a lot of it hurts like hell, but it's very effective.
Yeah, one more, I think. What do you think?
Open like that's good, or should
You try it. And just be flat on my foot. On your, yeah. Oh, I got a good hook right there. Wow.
As I'm kind of rolling into Sasha's finger, she gets a hold of the tendon and the tissue, and then I roll into it, and she's pulling it back open. I'm literally watching my toe get straighter. Wow.
Look at how straight that toe is. Bend.
Oh, yep. Oh, wow. This is good. Very close to a big adjustment.
Woo!
Bad stuff just came out of that. Wow. That's that twist that you need to squat down.
Yeah. It's like locked up. There we go.
Sorry, my butt's
That's
by
all
your
right.
head, dude.
We're just moving. You okay?
Oh, yeah.
Woo! And then put... Dang, look at that Alice. It's totally changing. I feel like on this one, I need to... Let's go a little back and forth, okay? So let me get the front, and then let's go back to the back, which there's so much change and circulation happening. Look how different the ankle is. Okay. So we'll just do... I'm going to come in here.
Okay.
And you're going to bend. So go ahead and bend that knee. Yes.
And tell the camera, since your face is there, it'll pick up your audio good. Tell it what you're up to.
Okay. So I'm having him stand because I can feel when he's weight bearing where all of his tendons and joints are stuck. And so right now I'm focusing on that retinaculum band. But all these tendons, there's no movement and flow. It's all friction. So then it's going to be pulling on the bone, the fibula and tibula, and bringing it out of alignment. And our foundation is key. If our foundation is stuck or aberrated any way, then the rest of our body is also going to suffer. We want to make sure that our guidelines that are holding our body up are in alignment so that we can move and flow freely.
Well said.
Without even thinking about what we're doing. We're just moving. But when we're stuck and that fascia is friction instead of movement and glide, then our body has to think about moving, and it gets all compensated because it does want to move freely.
Okay, so there's sort of the phase where for me, I'm getting help from Sasha to sort of help my body relearn how to hold itself, to make it feel safe again. But then my work comes in where I need to reinforce the patterns that we're reestablishing. I have to actually strengthen these areas that have gotten really weak. So softening the parts that got way too tight and way too protected, rip that Band-Aid off, like expose them again to stressors. So I want to show you a couple things now, what I do for that, at least every couple days, if not every day, just to regain some of that dexterity and strength in my feet. Even if you didn't play hockey your whole life, you've likely been wearing shoes your whole life, and it's highly likely that those shoes don't have a wide toe box and they probably have a really high heel. So what that does is it makes it easier for us to walk around, but it's robbing us of the opportunity to really strengthen and let the feet do what they do. So one area I really notice this in is just how little we actually use our toes and the very front part of our feet and the top of our feet in creating arch. So I actually do a ton of exercises where I'm up on my toes in a position where I have to create tension to hold my own weight up. I'll show you what I mean on this. So I'm going to use this little blob that's like $8 on Amazon, and I do these all the time. You can see I actually have my heel off the back of that so that I'm active. So that if this is my foot, this part of my foot right here, the outside top, is really turned on. This whole tibialis on the front is turned on to create stability. And then also the arch is turned on. And when I first started doing this, my arch couldn't hold it up. So what happens when our arch can't hold us up from down there? Something else has to do that work. That's where we get more tension up the body. So that's one way when you go up onto the tippy toes to get the toes and the top of your feet more active to create more of an arch. One of the ways that the gym culture or trainers over the years, I think, have had a detriment on my own training and reaching my own potential was how much I was one of them, hammered home keeping your weight in your heels and not allowing your knee to go over your toe at all. I think that's a really, really good way to like mitigate risk of injury. I don't think it's a good way to come back from injury and to get people to move through a full range of motion in their body and make their body as functional as it can be. So the thing is, we need to be moving all the way through the range, but we can't just jump right into it. Like if somebody tried to do that tiptoe thing that I just showed you with no training at all, they could injure their knee. It does put more pressure on their knee. So you have to really figure out a way to slowly expose yourself to these different ways of moving. A great way to do that, you saw me, I had those bars next to me. I was modulating how much weight I was putting on my foot based on how fatigued that it got. So more of a starting point here could literally just be you holding on to some TRX bands or holding on to something in front of you so you take some of the weight off your body, and then doing squats with your heels slightly elevated. I have found it to be true that when you can really improve your range of motion in your ankles, improve the strength in your feet, that it makes a massive difference in your pelvis. You might have seen some of the high-level CrossFitters. You sit there and you watch them do squats, and these people can keep their backs like completely upright. And you're like, how the hell are their hips doing that? Well, the secret isn't in their hips a lot of times. It's in their feet and it's in their ankles. So they've got such good ankle strength, foot strength, and they've put in the time to train where they can get themselves into those positions where their body's quite comfortable with a heavy load on their back because the back is supported and the pelvis and the ribs are stacked perfectly. All starts in your feet though. I'll be the first one to tell you, I'm not the best resource for you to use when it comes to all the different ideas for what you need to be doing. I'd love to be just the catalyst that gets you to think about, what's my connection to my feet? A good friend of mine went and saw a Rolfer back in Michigan, and he was having all these problems throughout his body. And she get him on the table, she's talking to him, and the first question she asked, she said, what is your relationship with your feet? And he said, I don't have one, they're just there. And I honestly think that is most of the population. So if you want actionables from me, just freaking be aware that your feet exist and start creating a stronger connection to them subtly. Like one of the ways you can do that is just walking around barefoot. One of my favorite things to do is walking barefoot on rocks, not the little ones, but larger rocks that have like contour to them where I can wrap my toes around the front of the rock and really feel my foot grip, and where I have to shift my weight. I think that's a great way to reestablish a connection. You can do little exercises at home where you're just sitting on the couch or you're standing and you're just lifting up your big toe, and then you're lifting up the other toes, lifting up your big toe, lifting up the other toes. It's really hard. Like I literally still can't do that efficiently. And I've been working on this stuff for 5 years, and it's not to discourage you. It's just like, that's how high the ceiling is. Like if you can get all that stuff working again, your body's gonna feel freaking awesome. I know my channel talks a lot about healing, so you might be thinking, where's the connection there? Anywhere in your body where there is an old injury or a new injury or a stagnation, that is going to throw off the way that you rid your body of toxins. That is going to create a blood flow issue, a lymphatic issue. Whenever you get stagnation, that's where you can start to get unease. Think about like a river, and there's this river flowing through, and everywhere that the water is flowing heavily, we don't see algae and fungus and all this stuff growing. But as soon as there's a big enough bend in the river, or maybe like a flood creates this side pocket where there's more stagnant water, what do we see? We see all the scum and everything start to develop. We want our body to be a free-flowing river. We do not want that stagnation. So if you're dealing with any kind of issues that I've dealt with, where it's the mold or the parasites or Lyme, all that stuff, you working on creating that flow is one of the best things that you can do, whether it be through massage, through using like a gua sha tool, through rebounding, through running, through walking, through moving, through strength training. It is so imperative to restore that flow. I can't even emphasize it enough. You're going to hear me talk about it over and over and over and over again. And the feet The feet is where it starts. I can't believe I just made a whole video about your feet.